Well, for more on that, we now cross to our business anchor, Francis Hurd, who's in Davos. Francis, day one, I guess discussions have all begun, and what have been the main areas of discussion today?
Okay, so the theme, of course, underlying everything, the fourth industrial revolution. And we spoke earlier, Peter, about the fact that there's absolutely no consensus whether robots are for us, whether artificial intelligence will help us or hinder us. Klaus Schwab, the CEO of the World Economic Forum, the German economist who began this meeting decades ago, has been talking about, he's already spoken about it in the past, the fact that technology, we know the tsunami, the fourth industrial revolution refers to innovation on an unprecedented scale, and we know it's coming. He spoke about the potential for this to robotize humans, to pull us apart. Equally, it has the potential to bring us together. He says to help us understand our collective destiny. And I can tell you, Peter, a part of this is the Internet of Things, the way that our technology, our devices will speak to one another and revolve around our lives, and also social media. That's part of the fourth industrial revolution, how it will change the way people do business and just lead to changes in the way we live. And a survey came out today. South Africa was actually included. This was across 5 countries. And this will all relate to you and me, people who spend time on social media, consuming news on social media. In fact, spend more time doing that than sleeping, which was a surprise to me. And like I said, South Africa, one of the 5 countries included in this. So that's one of the debates. Is this all good for us, basically? And also, what is the state of the world economy? That's been in focus as well.
And is there consensus about the state of the world's economy? Here at home, we just received word that our economy is not going to grow as fast as we had hoped. And in fact, it was already in dire straits. But what about the globe, especially if you think about China? Are they agreeing that maybe the global economy is in trouble?
So what we know, Peter, is a few years ago, we had that financial crisis that started with the banks, started in the developing world. Now, countries like South Africa, and this is crucial, South Africa, Brazil's in deep trouble as well, China also taking on more debt. We've all been taking on more debt, and government has justified this, saying that we are counter-cyclical. So when things are tough, we still need to spend money to make sure that people are okay. We spend on social grants, we spend on housing, we spend things like that. The problem is you take this counter-cyclical stance, hoping that things will get better. And there are signs that this recovery, as it's from the financial crisis, is stalling, not getting better. And that has huge implications for us because we've taken on debt. So I think that our finance minister, at least, is making the right noises here in Davos, telling people that we're going to be careful about debt, because that is the huge problem. The global economy is not growing as we would have liked. Growth expected to be slightly faster this year. But what we do know is that there are going to be job losses. Another report out today pointing to South Africa, Brazil, other emerging markets, particularly at the center of the storm, and the is that jobs are going to be lost. That means we have little hope of dealing with our unemployment problem. And it's dire news. So here we're talking about technology, all these great things that can happen. All we can hope for is that perhaps technology helps us somehow, but we have to harness the opportunities that it brings. The CEO of the JSC saying we need to leapfrog, we need to find opportunities and move into new areas where we haven't played before. That seems to be our only hope. So not a lot of optimism, especially around emerging markets, but some economists saying this is all overblown and we shouldn't give in to the huge pessimistic mood that prevails at the moment.
All right, and finally, perhaps if you could just tell us what's Team South Africa up to. I know that later this evening that they've got a function on. Is that to again entice people to our country?
Peter, I've lost you, but I can tell you about Team South Africa. They will be having an event this evening, and I actually spoke to a young Indian delegate at the start of our attendance, and she said she attended one of these evenings last year. It's called the South African Evening. So it's a time for our ministers, for the South African delegates to mingle with the investors, to invite whoever they want to come and learn about us. Ministers are milling around. Pravin Gordhan was just involved in a press conference looking at how private sector businesses can do good. So it was quite interesting to hear him talking about something completely different to the kind of things that we would ask him at home. Some of the ministers involved in the sessions. But I can tell you, Peter, it's really hard to get noticed here. You know, our flag is up outside the centre, the Congress Centre, where most things are happening. It's just one among many. It's hard to be noticed. And I think Africa, the African agenda, we've dropped down in terms of that agenda. And South Africa is being mentioned in terms of these reports about job losses, things like that, but not in a very positive way. And the delegation here has a hard sell to convince investors, to tell the world that South Africa is still really where it's at. So it's going to be hard, but at least they're trying. They have an event tonight. And some people at home, unfortunately, raising concerns about the costs of being here. And I will ask the Finance Minister about that tonight. Is this big delegation justified in terms of what's happening at home?
All right, Francis, thank you very much indeed for that update. And we look forward to more crossings with you and happenings that I guess are really the biggest gathering of business leaders, government people talking about business issues in Davos and Switzerland. And if you notice that our signal was starting to shake a little bit, well, the weather conditions are there pretty severe. If it snows and it gets too cold, we do have those issues. It's -7 degrees at the moment. So that's something to note. Anyway, we come back home.